If the Feds aren't going to lower interest rates, then we'll take it into our own hands to lower them ourselves. And one of the biggest issues that happened in May of 2024 is that mortgage rates have stayed so high and the volatility has fluctuated within 1/10 to 2/10 of a point, either up or down, that home buyers, they've retracted. They said, no more, we're not going to buy homes anymore. The number one decision maker for baby boomers, Gen Z, Gen X, and millennials this year for voting isn't abortion, and it isn't all the other items that they typically vote on. This year, their number one requirement to vote for presidency is housing affordability. And it's because housing affordability right now isn't just the bottom line price of the house, it's what you pay each month in addition to what the bottom line price is. You guys ever go to a car dealership now? And car dealerships for many years, they don't even talk about the price of the car. You don't go in and say, hey, this Escalade is $120,000. What they do is they extend out that loan. It's for car loans used to be 3 years, 5 years. Now they'll extend a car loan out 10 years. And they'll say, look, we'll give you a 10-year loan on your car. Your monthly payment is this amount. And they'll just write the amount there. And then as long as you feel comfortable with the monthly amount, you end up paying double the price for that automobile than you would otherwise. But most people don't realize that. So the biggest pushback that we get when we go buy cars, because typically we buy them cash, or we take advantage of a financing incentive, hence, it's what we're going to talk about today. We take advantage of a financing incentive, and when we take advantage of that financing incentive, it might lower the price of the car $5,000 to $10,000. In fact, we did that on one of our Jeeps because it was just a financing incentive put together, and so it was 0%. We signed the loan, and then over the course, they don't allow you to pay the loan off in 30 days, but you can do it over the course of 3 months. So always write them three checks, and we don't incur almost any interest at all, very little, and we save $5,000 to $10,000 on our bottom line because most people don't have the luxury of doing that. So here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. The reason I'm talking about this is because this worked for the automobile industry when cars were super expensive through COVID. I would go buy my work trucks from the auctions. I'd go down to like Manheim and I'd go buy work trucks, but we'd also buy cars just for fun. And we would just sell them. We'd drive them for a little bit, put a little bit of miles on them, sell them for a profit or sell them for a break even. And we were able to take advantage of doing that, and it was just kind of fun. But the problem is that through COVID, the prices of cars got extremely expensive because there wasn't enough inventory coming to the market because of the microchips that were going into cars. And so because of that, the car prices went so high, car dealerships couldn't make money. So the car dealerships took it in their own hand to get financing alternatives put together. And what they did is they made money on financing. So now they're making money on paper. And so it's the paper that they hold. It's the contract. It's the paper that they hold that actually made them money. And so the name of the game was how many contracts, how many of these papers, how much paper do you have on contract? If you had 200 of these, 2,000 of these, all of a sudden, the interest payments and the feedback from the owner financing, which they would do a lot of in-house financing, is where they made their money. It was the spread of interest that they made on those vehicles. And then vehicles became even more expensive. The market didn't even know. They were already buying a super high expensive vehicle. Then they're buying it on leverage. And then they just got down the terms and conditions for repossession so that way they wouldn't lose. And it was the paper, ladies and gentlemen, they made money on. Okay, now, how does that relate to real estate? How does that relate to you? And how does that relate to our current market? Well, let me tell you guys something. Right now, in May, more homes sat on the market than it has in over a year. We had the highest month ever where homes sat on the market for in excess of 30 days. 3 out of 5 homes sat on the market without a sales buyer and without an offer for over 30 days. We haven't seen this since pre-pandemic. And so one of the biggest things right now is why are people's homes not selling? And it's because people have retracted. They're saying no more. We're not doing it. And I'm sitting back and I'm telling you guys, buy land, build houses. And I believe that right now, buying land, building houses is the most important. And here's what our students have done and what we've been instructing them to do. And this is the exact same thing that you have to do. And it's very similar what the automobile industry did through COVID to be able to go in and take advantage of still selling cars in spite of the high prices. Ladies and gentlemen, it's no different than what happened in the automobile industry. Most people don't recognize it because the number one largest expense that people have is their home. The second largest expense that people have is cars. But yet, as much as cars are expensive, they're still less than a quarter of what most people's average price for homes are. And so for that reason, pay attention, because this will sell your homes. People are not going in and buying based on price. It's based on terms, okay? The people's homes are selling today on terms, not price, okay? Sell on terms, not price. You guys realize, like on a 30-year mortgage, if you go in and you lower a sales price $30,000 or $50,000, $10,000, even a $50,000 price reduction over the course of 30 years lowers their price maybe $20 to $30 a month, depending on the mortgage itself, okay? So most people are okay. They go to Starbucks and spend more than that for breakfast each day. So if you go in, ladies and gentlemen, and you're selling a home and you're wanting to reduce your home for $30,000, it doesn't even move the needle for home buyers. So don't reduce the price. It's not the price that's selling homes today. It's the terms. It's the overall length of time and the terms that are set in place that are killing people. So the feds are sitting back going, we're going to raise interest rates. If we raise interest rates, it's going to fix the economy because there's too much inflation. And I'm sitting back going, hey, stupid. Jerome Powell. Yes, that's right. Jerome Powell. Hey, stupid. That doesn't fix the economy. It breaks the economy because people, ladies and gentlemen, are not buying based on price anymore. It's based on terms because the price itself moves the needle so marginally, it doesn't even affect them. They don't even realize that. Mentally, you and buyers think that moves the needle. But in this market, ladies and gentlemen, education is key. And it's the overall interest rate. I've been talking about this in multifamily where I sit back and tell you guys, ladies and gentlemen, money's expensive. Prices are getting compressed. Cap rates are up. They have to go back down in order for values to go up. And ladies and gentlemen, the interest rates and the expense of money is killing the economy, not inflation. The market will acclimate naturally. It's the first time in history, ladies and gentlemen, the first time historically that the feds have stepped in to monitor and regulate interest rates on your guys' behalf to control inflation. Stupid. Let me tell you something. Right now, you have to sell based on terms, not based on price. And what I mean by that is you have to negotiate the terms with your sellers. So on your listings, what you have to make sure that buyers understand is that you're willing to come to the table with a buyer's incentive. So instead of reducing your sales price by $30,000, give them a $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 buyer's incentive to buy down their rate. And when you go in and you buy this down to 5%, let me show you the difference. Let's look at the average median home buyer, and let's look at our home buyer that sits in the upper 24% of the demographics. So if we go in, and let's say that the average median home is selling for $385,000, listing for $416,000. The actual listing price has dropped by $3,000 this month, where it was almost $420,000, now down to $416,000 this month. Let's just call it at even $400,000. So if we go in and we have a $400,000 house, okay? And a lot of times there's so many new home buyers incentives and there's all types of financing incentives in regards to who can get in the home. They're trying to put people in these homes. They want you in these mortgages, but they're trying to sell you into these mortgages right here. Stupid. So we go in, we buy down the rate. Now, typically, money is volatile. It's just like any other commodity. There's some days that the cost of money is very expensive and some days that it's very inexpensive. So when you go in and you talk to your mortgage lender, you need to ask them, compared to the average daily rate of what money is being traded, how does today, the day I'm locking in my rate, compare to the rates over the course of the last 30 days? Now, there's a little tiny bit of a gamble. A lot of times you want to lock in the rate when the money is cheaper because the cost to get it here is less when the cost of the money is less. And so when you could go in and maybe lower it 1 percentage point for a couple $1,000s, that's great, instead of paying $4,000. Now, one of the big things, guys, it's going to cost you several $1,000s. It might cost you, depending on the cost of money, it might cost $10,000 to come in and lower this 1%. So it might cost $20,000. But if you go in and you spend $20K, for sake of example, and this is volatile, these numbers are not set. They're not set numbers, guys. It's based on the volatility and the cost of money in comparison to the market each day, and it changes daily. But let's say that you go in and you give somebody a $20,000 buyer's incentive, and you're able to buy that rate down 2%, okay? So we take it down to 5.5%, okay? So instead of 7.5%, let's look what that does for the average home buyer buying a $400,000 home. So we go in and we take a $400,000 mortgage times 0.0753. Okay, that's $30,120 just in interest payment. There's no principal. Okay, now these are typically 30-year amortized loans. So we divide that by 12. That's $2,500 a month. Okay, $2,510. That's just the interest. Okay, that's interest only. Now, if we drop that just 2%, we go in and we take for that same $400,000 home divided by or times 0.055. 22,000 divided by 12. Ladies and gentlemen, that takes that home all the way down to $1,830 a month. That's a $700 difference. Okay, now, you're a home buyer, okay? You take a $20,000 price reduction or a $700 per month. 700 times 12, it's $8,400 a year. If you live in that house for 8 years, ladies and gentlemen, 8 years, let's say you have that mortgage, before you do a refinance, times 8, that's $67,000 price reduction you get on that house that you would otherwise take a $20,000 price reduction on. Would you rather take a $20,000 price reduction or a $67,000 price reduction? Ladies and gentlemen, you need to sell your homes based on terms, not price. Stop reducing the price of your homes. It's more advantageous, ladies and gentlemen, to negotiate the terms and give your buyers a buyer's incentive. Use that same money you're going to reduce to buy better terms for the person buying your homes. And that's what's selling homes right now. Now let's look at it on a $700,000 home. 700,000 times 0.0753. That's 52,000 divided by 12. That's $4,400 a month. $4,400 per month on a $700,000 house. Okay? That's your monthly payment just on interest. Okay? That's at 7.5%. That's today's rate, guys, right here. That's on that. We do a buy down. Look at this. $700,000. $700,000 house times 0.055 equals 38 divided by 12, $3,200. That's a difference of $1,200 a month right there alone. $1,200 variance back in your bank account. Look, ladies and gentlemen, that pays a car payment, a really nice car payment, or maybe 2 car payments. That's car payment and groceries for a few weeks. So the expense of housing is not coming from the overall price of homes, lumber, commodities, light fixtures, flooring. In spite of all that stuff going up, ladies and gentlemen, the cost of housing, the largest expense of housing, in spite of what Mr. Jerome Powell says, is interest, and interest is self. It's working against the economy for inflation, worse than people think. And people think that Mr. Jerome Powell and our federal government is watching out for our best interest. Wrong. It's working against everything that we should be dealing with right now. If the federal government will lower interest rates, it would decrease inflation. The natural, organic take of how the market will acclimate would take its own course. And people will resist if prices get too high, just like they're doing right now. They're telling the Fed, stop with the high interest rates. Let's bring them down. Let's make housing affordability back to where it was. Because when I take $1,200 off the price of my monthly mortgage, that makes my house more affordable, in spite of the price. So you sell your homes based on terms, not price. It's the exact same thing that the auto dealers did during the pandemic that you today, when housing is expensive due to interest rates, not inflation, is what you're going to do to sell your homes in today's current state of the market until Mr. Powell gets smart and lowers interest rates and makes housing affordability the key component to repairing the economy, the single-family residential home sector, and making families like yours and mine and giving them the ability to move into homes at a cost they can afford. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what's going to fix the economy first. That's how you go out and you compound your success and the success of our nation and everybody right now that's in the housing market. For more videos just like this, click and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Smash that thumbs up button. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to recommend a few videos on how to go out and invest in single family and multifamily real estate at the end of this video. Continue your education, and I look forward to your long-term success throughout the year and next year.